We will be dealing with some of the basic questions related to tort law for enlightening our knowledge in the subject of law. So, without wasting any time, let's start with it. The first question is: dash are the words which appear innocent but have a latent defamatory meaning. Fill in the above blank. The options are A. Libel, B. Slander, C. Innuendo, or D. None of the above. The correct answer to this question is option C. That means innuendo are the words which appear innocent but have a latent defamatory meaning. The next question is: the unliquidated damages means which of the following? Options are A. Damage to be something solid. Option B. Damage caused by firm which has gone in liquidation. Option C. Damage to a firm in the hands of receivers. Or option D. The damage to be assessed by a court as these are not predetermined. The correct answer to this question is option D. That means the unliquidated damages means those damages which are to be assessed by the court as these are not predetermined. The next question is: assault and nuisance are which type of wrong? Options are A. Wrong under criminal law. Option B. Wrong under tort law. C. Wrong under neither of the above. Or D. Wrong under both of the following. The correct answer to this question is option D. That means assault and nuisance are both wrong under the criminal law as well as wrong under the tort law. The next question is: the duty under the law of torts is towards which of the following? Options are A. Group of individuals, B. Particular community, C. Specific individual, or D. World at large. The correct answer to this question is option D. That means the duty under the law of tort is towards the world at large. The next question is: what is the legal meaning of the word battery? Options are A. Cells which are used in torch, tape recorder, etc. B. Battering a person to death. C. Actual or intended striking of another person. Or D. Assault resulting in at least 6 months hospitalization. The correct answer to this question is option C. That is, actual or intended striking of another person is known as battery in legal terms. The next question is: when the master is held liable for the wrongful of his servant, the liability is called which of the following? Options are A. Strict liability, B. Vicarious liability, C. Tortious liability, or D. Absolute liability. The correct answer to this question is option B. That means when the master is held liable for a wrongful of his servant, this type of liability is known as vicarious liability. This is a liability in which the master is held liable for the wrongful of his servant in his course of employment. The next question is: the act of unlawfully entering into another's property constitute which of the following? Options are A. Trespass, B. Restraint, C. Appropriation, or D. Encroachment. The correct answer to this question is option A. That means the act of unlawfully entering into another person's property constitutes trespass of the property, and it is a civil offense. The next question is: no fault liability means which of the following? Options are A. Liability for damage caused through negligence, B. Liability for damage caused through fault, C. Absolute liability even without any negligence or fault, or D. Freedom from liability. The correct answer to this question is option C. That is, the absolute liability even without any negligence or fault constitute no fault liability. The next question is, Ramesh asked his servant to sell his cycle to him at a price less than that of market price. This contract can be avoided by the servant on the ground of which of the following? Options are A. Fraud, B. Mistake, C. Undue influence, or D. Coercion. The correct answer to this question is option C. That means to say, the above contract can be avoided by the servant on the grounds of undue influence. It is a form of crime in which a person tries to influence the other person by the use of his position or having an authority over that person. Next question is, tortious liability arises from the breach of duty, primarily fixed by law. This duty is towards person generally, and its breach is redressal by the action of unliquidated damages. The definition is given by which of the whom of the following? Options are A. Winfield, B. Salmond, C. Flemings, or D. Goodhart. The correct answer to this question is option A. That means to say, the above definition of when tortious liability would arise was given by Winfield. Next question is, which one of the following is not an example of vicarious liability? The options are A. Liability of the principal for a tort of his agent, B. Liability of partners for each other's tort, C. Liability of the master for the tort of his servant, or D. Liability of the parents for the tort of the children. The correct answer to this question is option D. That means to say, the liability of a parents for the tort of the children is not an example of vicarious liability, as the relationship of master and servant cannot be established in this situation. The next question is, in an action for the tort of negligence, what is not required to be proved by the plaintiff is that A. There is damage, B. Duty situation arises, C. Breach of duty owed to someone, or D. Breach of duty owed to the plaintiff. The correct answer to this question is option C. That means the breach of duty owed to someone is not required to be proved by the plaintiff in the action of tort of negligence. The next question is, torts are grounded in the concept of which of the following? Options are A. Law, B. Code, C. Rights, or D. Sincerity. The correct answer to this question is option C. That means to say, the tort are grounded in the concept of rights of a person. The next question is, which of the following is not related to tort law? The options are A. Uncodified, B. Unliquidated damages, C. Pigeonhole theory, or D. Criminal law. Correct answer to this question is option D. That is, criminal law is not related to tort law as it is uncodified, but it comes under the ambit of civil law. The next question is, which of the following is not an element of the international tort? Options are A. An intentional tort occurred, B. An injury resulted from the tort, C. The tort did not cause the injury, or D. The injury caused damages to the person. The correct answer to this question is option C. That means the tort did not cause the injury is not an element of the international intentional tort.